During this election, Democrats failed to gain control of governments in many states across our country, which means it will be much harder for progressives to force changes on issues like taxes, guns, and redistricting. Fox's Mike Emanuel has more from Washington this morning.
Democrats invested heavily in winning the majority in state legislatures with an eye on redistricting, spending big money in places like Texas, Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, and Iowa. But Democrats came up short, while Republicans won the majority in New Hampshire.
That was a big disappointment for Democrats and a big surprise for many who thought this was Republicans on defense, Democrats on offense kind of election cycle in the states. Republicans not only held their ground, but actually gained a couple of chambers in New Hampshire.
State houses handle issues ranging from taxes to gun control to police reform, and soon rewriting the congressional district maps for the next decade.
For the most part, the legislature has control over the redistricting process, and in keeping these majorities, we were able to ensure that the next 10 years will secure us conservative leadership in the states that we need it the most.
Leading Democrats say they lost due to a surge of Trump voters who also backed Republicans down ballot. And in Virginia, where Democrats are the majority, voters approved a constitutional amendment giving redistricting power to a bipartisan commission.
You take the power away from state legislators, from politicians who are self-interested, who want to draw maps that favor themselves and their party, and you give it to citizens so that they have the power to do that.
With members of Congress due to return for a lame duck session, there are signs Democrats are divided after the majority in the House is going to be smaller next year. New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says she's thought about giving up politics, saying, quote, "It's the lack of support from your own party. It's your own party thinking you're the enemy when your own colleagues talk anonymously in the press and then turn around and say you're bad because you actually append your name to your opinion." House Majority Whip Jim Clyburn says calls to defund the police hurt Democratic congressional candidates, including freshman Joe Cunningham, who lost in South Carolina. Now there are calls by Ocasio-Cortez for Democrats to address very deep divisions in their party. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.